Look, I'm still trying to wrap my head around how one conversation completely blew up my entire life. Like, we're talking about a 2-year relationship that was literally perfect until Luke decided to have a complete meltdown over something I didn't even say I wanted to do. But let me start from the beginning, because this whole thing is just insane. I'm Casey, I'm 26, and until last week I thought I had everything figured out. I was with this guy Luke for 2 years. He's 24, works doing something with computers, and honestly, he was exactly what I needed after all the jerks I dated before. Sweet, stable, completely devoted to me, never questioned where I was or what I was doing. The kind of guy who actually listens when you talk and remembers little things about your day. When we first met, he was still a virgin. Can you believe that? 24 years old, and he'd never been with anyone. I mean, I thought it was kind of sweet at first, like he was waiting for the right person or whatever. And look, I'll be honest, my past isn't exactly clean. I had my fun in high school and college, probably more than most girls. Started young, dated around, had plenty of hookups with guys who turned out to be a complete waste of time. But that's normal, right? That's how you figure out what you want. The difference is, I learned from all that. I know what real relationship material looks like now. And Luke was it. Reliable, caring, never made me feel judged about anything I'd done before. When I finally told him about some of my previous relationships, he was so understanding. Said he loved everything about me, even my history. I mean, I didn't give him every single detail. No guy needs to know absolutely everything, but I was honest about the important stuff. We moved in together 8 months ago, and everything was going great. He'd talk about our future all the time, about maybe getting engaged next year, about the kind of life we wanted to build together. I loved hearing him talk like that. It made me feel secure in a way I'd never felt with anyone else. Like I'd finally found someone who was serious about me. But lately, I'd been thinking about something that was kind of bothering me. Not about us exactly, but about him. See, Luke has literally only been with me. One person, his entire life. And sure, I taught him a lot, but there's only so much experience you can get with just one partner. What if he starts wondering what else is out there? What if in 5 or 10 years, he has some kind of crisis about settling down too young? I've seen it happen so many times. Guys who marry their first girlfriend and then hit 30 and completely lose their minds. Suddenly, they're having affairs or asking for divorces because they feel like they missed out on something. I didn't want that to be us. I wanted our relationship to be bulletproof. So I started thinking about this idea. What if we opened things up temporarily? Just for a little while. Just so Luke could experience what it's like to be with other people. I mean, I already know what's out there. I've done the casual thing, hooked up with different types of guys, figured out what I like and don't like. But Luke? He has no idea what he's choosing when he chooses me. The more I thought about it, the more it made sense. It would actually prove how strong our relationship is. He'd go out there, see what other women are like, and realize how good he has it with me. Plus, it would show him that I'm not some jealous, controlling girlfriend who needs to keep him locked down. I'm secure enough in what we have to let him explore a little. I was actually excited about bringing it up. I had this whole speech planned about how much I love him and how I want to make sure we're choosing each other for all the right reasons. How this could be like a final test before we get engaged. Proof that we're meant to be together. I picked Tuesday night to have the conversation. Luke had just gotten home from work. He was in a good mood, we'd ordered pizza, and were just hanging out watching TV. Perfect timing, right? Relaxed, no distractions. Just the two of us talking about our future like we always did. I started exactly like I'd planned. Babe, I've been thinking about us lately, about where we're heading. He got this little smile on his face, probably thinking I was going to bring up ring shopping or something. Which honestly made what happened next even more frustrating because clearly we were on the same page about wanting a future together. We both want to take things to the next level, right? I continued. And we're still young, still figuring ourselves out. I was thinking about how we can make sure we're making the right choice for the long term. He nodded along, looking interested. Everything was going exactly how I'd imagined. Then I said, since we're both still young and want to experience everything life has to offer, I was wondering what your thoughts would be on maybe exploring an open relationship, just temporarily, just to make sure we're both choosing each other for the right reasons. And that's when Luke's entire face just changed, like completely shut down. He got this look like I'd just told him I'd been cheating on him or something, which was ridiculous, because this was literally the opposite of cheating. This was me being completely honest and upfront about something that could actually help our relationship. What exactly are you saying, Casey? His voice got all cold and weird. Not the tone I was expecting at all. I'm saying maybe we should consider opening things up for a while, so you can experience being with other people before we get more serious. You've only been with me, and I just want to make sure you don't have any regrets later. Stop. He cut me off. Just like that. Wouldn't even let me finish explaining my reasoning. Are you telling me you want to sleep with other people? It's not about what I want, I tried to explain. This is about you. About making sure you know what you're choosing when you choose me. I've already been with other people, but you haven't, and I don't want you to wonder what you missed. But he wasn't listening. Not really. He just kept staring at me with this look, like he didn't even know who I was. Then he started asking all these questions like, how long have you been thinking about this? And, is there someone specific you have in mind? Which completely missed the point. I wasn't trying to hook up with anyone. I was trying to be the cool girlfriend who's secure enough in her relationship to let her man experience life a little. Do you know how rare that is? Most girls would be way too jealous and possessive to even consider something like this. But instead of appreciating what I was offering, Luke started getting angry. Like, really angry. Started saying things like how he couldn't believe I would suggest this, how he thought I was happy with our relationship, how this was completely out of nowhere. Out of nowhere, I said. Luke, I'm trying to have an adult conversation about our future. This is exactly the kind of thing serious couples should be able to discuss. That's when he really lost it. Started pacing around our living room like a crazy person, running his hands through his hair, muttering things under his breath. I'm sitting there trying to stay calm, trying to be the rational one, and he's acting like I just destroyed his entire world. You don't get it, he kept saying. You just don't get it. But when I asked him to explain what I wasn't getting, he couldn't even give me a straight answer. Just more of this dramatic nonsense about how I'd ruined everything, and how he should have seen this coming. Should have seen what coming? Me caring enough about our relationship to have difficult conversations? Me trying to make sure we're building something that will last? I was being mature and forward-thinking, and somehow that makes me the bad guy? Then he started bringing up my past, which was completely unfair. I should have known, he said. Someone with your history was always going to want this eventually. My history? Like my past experiences are some kind of character flaw? I never hid anything from him. I was honest about having been with other people. He said he was fine with it. He said it didn't matter. But apparently it matters now when he needs ammunition for his tantrum. And the names he called me, I can't even repeat some of them. Words that no man should ever say to a woman, especially not the woman he supposedly loves. This from the guy who used to tell me I was perfect, who used to say he felt lucky to have me. The worst part is he never even tried to understand what I was actually suggesting. Never asked about my reasoning or tried to see it from my perspective. Just immediately assumed the worst possible interpretation and decided that was it. After 2 years together, 2 years of me being nothing but supportive and understanding, and this is how he reacts to one difficult conversation. I tried to calm him down, tried to explain that we didn't have to do anything, that it was just an idea we could think about, but he was already done, already mentally out the door. Started talking about how he knew this day would come, and how he was stupid to think I was different. Different from what? I never gave him any reason to think I was unhappy or looking elsewhere. By the end of the night, he'd worked himself up into this self-righteous fury where nothing I said mattered. Told me he was done, that he couldn't be with someone who would even think about something like that. Changed his relationship status right there in front of me before he even left the apartment. 2 years together, and he throws it all away over one conversation. One suggestion. One attempt at honest communication about our future. The whole thing was completely insane. The next morning, I woke up to complete silence. Luke had actually left sometime after I went to bed, didn't even have the decency to say goodbye or anything, just grabbed a bunch of his stuff and disappeared. His work clothes were gone, his laptop, his favorite coffee mug, like he couldn't get away from me fast enough. I spent the whole day trying to reach him. Called his phone, even though I knew he'd probably turned it off. Left messages at his work. Sent texts that I knew he wasn't reading. I wasn't apologizing, because honestly I don't think I did anything wrong, but I was trying to explain what I actually meant, trying to get him to listen to reason and stop being so dramatic about everything. By the second day, I was getting desperate. I drove to his office during lunch and waited in the parking lot. When he came out and saw my car, he looked like he'd seen a ghost. Wouldn't even come close to where I was parked. Just stood there by the building entrance, shaking his head at me like I was some kind of stalker. "Luke, please just let me explain," I called out. He didn't let me finish what I was trying to say. "I heard enough," he yelled back, loud enough that other people in the parking lot turned to look, embarrassing both of us for no reason. "I don't want to hear any more explanations. But you're not understanding what I meant." "No, Casey, you're not understanding. We're done. Leave me alone." And then he went back inside, left me sitting in that parking lot feeling like a complete idiot, while his coworkers probably watched from the windows and gossiped about the crazy ex-girlfriend. I tried reaching out to his friends, thinking maybe they could talk some sense into him. But apparently, he'd already gotten to them first, with his version of what happened. His buddy Marcus, who I'd always gotten along with great, actually sent me this long message about how disappointed he was in me, and how I should respect Luke's decision to move on. Disappointed in me? For what? Having an adult conversation about relationships? Even worse was when I ran into his sister at the grocery store a few days later. We'd always been friendly. She'd even told me once that she thought I was perfect for her brother. But when she saw me, she literally turned around and walked the other way, wouldn't even acknowledge me, like I'd done something horrible instead of just suggesting something that could have helped Luke grow as a person. The most frustrating part is that everyone is taking his side without even hearing mine. They're all acting like I'm this terrible person who tried to destroy our relationship, when really, I was trying to strengthen it. I was being mature and thinking about our future. I was considering our long-term compatibility, but somehow that makes me the villain in everyone's story. I even tried writing him a letter, an actual letter, since he'd blocked me everywhere else. Explained everything I'd been trying to say that night. How much I love him, how I want our future to be solid, how this was about making sure he never has any regrets about choosing me. How I've seen too many relationships fall apart because one person feels like they missed out on something important. But I don't think he even read it. No response, no acknowledgement, nothing, just complete silence, like our 2 years together meant absolutely nothing to him. It's like our entire relationship got erased because he couldn't handle one adult conversation, because he's too immature to discuss difficult topics without having a complete emotional breakdown. And now I'm the one dealing with all the aftermath, while he gets to play the victim and tell everyone how betrayed he feels. Betrayed by honesty. Betrayed by someone who cares enough about their relationship to have hard conversations. That's really something. 3 weeks after Luke's dramatic exit from my life, I found out just how far he was willing to take this whole victim act. I was at Target just trying to buy some basic stuff and move on with my life when I saw them together. Luke. With some girl I'd never seen before. And not just like shopping together or whatever. They were holding hands, laughing at something on his phone. She had her arm looped through his like they'd been together for months. My first thought was maybe it was a cousin or something, but then I saw him kiss the top of her head while they were looking at something. And I knew exactly what this was. 3 weeks. It took him 3 weeks to replace me completely. I followed them at a distance. Not stalking. Just trying to understand what I was seeing. This girl looked like everything I'm not. Plain brown hair, barely any makeup, wearing some oversized cardigan that probably came from the clearance rack. The kind of girl who probably thinks holding hands in public is scandalous. And Luke's looking at her like she's some precious princess who needs to be protected from the big bad world. That's when it really hit me. This isn't about him being hurt by our conversation. This is about him wanting someone safe. Someone who'll never challenge him or push him to grow or suggest anything that might make him step outside his comfort zone. Someone who'll let him stay in his little bubble forever and never ask any difficult questions. Because let's be real here. What kind of person moves on that fast, unless they were already looking? Maybe I wasn't wrong about him needing to explore other options. Maybe he was already feeling trapped in our relationship, and my suggestion just gave him the perfect excuse to do what he was already planning to do anyway. The worst part is seeing how happy he looks with her. Not because I'm jealous, I'm not. I could have any guy I want if I really put myself out there. But because it proves that everything he said about loving me and accepting my past was complete garbage. If he could replace me that easily, then what we had wasn't real anyway. I did some asking around through mutual friends and found out her name is Lauren. She works at some non-profit downtown, volunteers at the animal shelter on weekends, apparently has never even lived with a boyfriend before. Basically everything an insecure guy like Luke would want. Someone with zero experience who won't ask difficult questions or have any real expectations. And you know what the really messed up part is? Everyone's acting like this is some beautiful love story. Like he found someone who really gets him and knows what she wants. Found someone who won't challenge him, you mean? Found someone who'll settle for whatever scraps of effort he wants to give and never push him to be better. I actually tried to warn her. Sent her a message explaining what kind of person she's really dealing with. How he runs away the second things get complicated. How he can't handle honest communication about real relationship issues. How he'll probably do the same thing to her the moment she brings up anything that makes him uncomfortable. But she never even responded. Probably went crying to Luke about the crazy ex-girlfriend who tried to interfere with their perfect little romance. I'm sure he spun it as me being jealous and obsessive instead of just looking out for another woman who's about to waste her time. Fine. Let her find out the hard way what happens when you date someone who can't handle adult relationships. Let her discover that his whole innocent act is just fear dressed up as virtue. Let her waste months or years trying to build something real with a guy who'll run for the hills the second she shows any sign of independence or complexity. I'm done trying to make people understand what really happened. Done explaining myself to people who've already made up their minds that I'm the villain in this story. Luke wanted simple and safe. He got it. Hope it's everything he thought it would be. It's been 6 months now since Luke's little tantrum ended our relationship. And honestly, I'm starting to think I dodged a massive bullet. All this time I've been focused on what went wrong. But maybe what went wrong is that I was wasting my time with someone who was never going to be able to handle a real, adult relationship anyway. I moved to Houston last month. New city, fresh start, better job opportunities, got a position that actually pays decent money, found a nice apartment in a neighborhood where people actually know how to have fun and live their lives. No more small-town drama, no more running into people who think they know my business. And yeah, I've been dating again. Nothing too serious yet, but I'm meeting guys who actually have some experience with women. Guys who don't act like discussing relationship boundaries is some kind of personal attack on their character. Guys who've lived a little and don't need their girlfriend to walk on eggshells around their precious feelings all the time. It's actually incredible how different dating is when you're not constantly trying to protect someone's fragile ego. I forgot what it was like to be with men who can handle a real conversation without having a complete breakdown. Who don't treat every suggestion or discussion as some kind of threat to their masculinity. I heard through our old mutual friends that Luke and his little saint are still together. Apparently they moved in together already. Guess when you find someone boring enough, Why waste time getting to know them, right? Word is they're even talking about getting engaged. Perfect. Two inexperienced people who are afraid of anything remotely complicated. They absolutely deserve each other. The funny thing is, people keep expecting me to be heartbroken about it. Like I should be devastated that I lost him to someone else. But honestly, she didn't win anything special. She got a guy who can't handle difficult conversations, who runs away instead of working through problems, who needs his girlfriend to be smaller and simpler than him so he can feel like a big, strong man. Good luck with all that. I also heard he's been telling people that I tried to manipulate him into an open relationship and that he had to escape my toxic behavior. Toxic behavior, like being honest about relationship concerns? Like trying to prevent future problems before they destroy everything? Like caring enough about our future to have the hard conversations that most people are too scared to have. But whatever story helps him sleep at night, I guess. At least I know the truth, that I was trying to build something real and lasting while he was looking for someone to play house with. I was thinking about our long-term compatibility and growth, while he just wanted someone who'd never challenge him or expect him to evolve as a person. The best part about all this is that I'm finally free to find someone who's actually on my level. Someone who's had enough life experience to appreciate what I bring to a relationship. Someone who won't freak out over honest communication or run away the first time we have to discuss something that isn't all sunshine and rainbows. I'm 26, I'm in a great city, I'm making good money, and I'm not tied down to some guy who needed me to pretend I was something I'm not, just to make him feel comfortable. Sure, I thought Luke and I had something special, but clearly I was just settling for someone who wasn't ready for what I was offering. His loss. Honestly, Lauren can have him and everything that comes with dating someone that emotionally immature. She can be the one walking on eggshells, making sure she never says anything that might upset his delicate sensibilities. She can deal with his inability to handle real adult relationship discussions. Me? I'm done playing small for men who can't handle women with actual personalities and opinions. Done apologizing for being honest about what I want and need from a partnership. Done explaining myself to people who've already decided I'm the villain in their simple little story. I'm moving forward with my life, and I'm not looking back at what was obviously never going to work anyway. Luke can enjoy his safe, predictable little relationship with someone who'll never ask him to grow or think outside his comfort zone. That's exactly what he deserves.